You got the touch.
This is Stan Bush, and this epic video from Optibotimus truly has the touch.
Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming to you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to all of the absolutely incredible contributions from my Optibotimus Plus channel members, specifically the one and only TJ and Emma, we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series Voyager Class SOUNDWAVE, as he appeared in the Transformers Bumblebee film, or as I like to refer to him as, little mini John Bailey. Because for those of you that don't know, the one and only John Bailey, epic voice guy himself, and close personal friend of me, Optibotimus, actually voiced Soundwave in the Bumblebee movie, and did a terrific job at that. For the package, much like all the Studio Series figures, you had this nice Transformers text with the Generation logo, absolutely gorgeous CGI image of Soundwave right there with a little tiny window that kind of showcases him from about the waist up. See, Studio Series, he's the 83rd in the line. As I mentioned, he is from the Transformers Bumblebee film. You got an up-close image of him right there on the side. And then on the opposite side, a more pullback image kind of showing more of the lower section of his body. Come around to the back of the package. Obviously, big screen inspired, all that stuff. So you get a backdrop. Then you got images of him in his robot and his mode. I have no idea. In the film, he never actually had an alternate mode. All we saw was this. And what we do know now is that Hasbro took those CGI images from the film and did their very best to create realistic alt modes for these guys. They did a terrific job with Wheeljack here. Let's see how well they do for Soundwave. So for the package on this guy, that's about it. And now, without further ado, let's get him out here and see how cool he actually is. And here we have the new Studio Series Soundwave from the Transformers Bumblebee movie open up out of his packaging, and obviously in whatever mode this is. And since this is the first of the new Studio Series figures in 2022 that I've taken a look at in packaging, I did want to touch on something here, that they have seemingly got rid of the clear clamshell thing that they put the figure in, and now they're using a cardboard thing with everything kind of tied on there, but you can see that it replicates pretty much the background of what normally is our display base thing here, which I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I like the fact that they're not using the plastic. The cardboard is more biodegradable, so kudos to the folks at Hasbro for making more environmentally friendly packaging. But I just feel like having a replica of this is kind of weird. But as you can see, the backdrop is there. You got the Transformers Bumblebee logo right there. This is from Cybertron, Transformers, Studio Series, all that fun stuff. And here he is. And again, I have no freaking clue what this guy is supposed to be. Maybe some kind of a hovercraft of sorts. Maybe it flies around or something. I guess. I mean, as I talked about in the various interviews that we've gotten, Hasbro has revealed that they had to create alt modes for these because the CGI images from the movie did not have any. So they had to be creative for the most part. And I guess this is creative. I mean, you basically can see what's going on. Here's his arms, here's his legs. Doesn't really look like anything. It looks like a claw thing going around. Now, for comparison, obviously this is a deluxe size figure, so Wheeljack obviously is going to be a little bit smaller, but I think that's pretty accurate. He did seem to be pretty big, so I'm okay with it, but really there really isn't much to look at here. He does come with his weapons. You got a regular rifle here. It does look like it is molded in a blue plastic. You can kind of see that the handle here is blue if you can actually kind of, yeah, you can see that. And then it looks like the rest of it is painted black, which that looks really nice. It has a very nice glossy paint on there. Good sculpted detail and all that fun stuff. Then you also do have what will become his shoulder thingy. You can plug that in on the side, and again, that looks really cool. Good blue paint. You got some red highlights, some silver right there. Really, a lot of nice detail. That folds around so that can attach to his back, which will be fairly handy. Transformation on him is pretty simple, but there are some interesting things that happen with the guy. First, we're going to come around here to this top section. This little bit right here is going to be his foot. Fold these bits down like that. They tab into the underside here with some little tabs on his forearms. Just kind of get that out of the way for now. And then all this is going to kind of wiggle out. So just kind of pull that away, swivel that down like that, and then do that on this side as well. This part here does get a little bit tricky. Just kind of lift that up and then just fold that down and around, and then you can rotate this around like that. This is going to be the front of them, so let's bring this all the way around like so. Bring this down. That's not a double hinge, and you can put the foot in a proper position. Double hinge that back, rotate that around. These leg panels here in the back, this section is going to fold in, and then that collapses in just like so. Do that on this side as well. Fold that in, collapses that down. Kind of straighten out his legs thusly. Come around here to the back again, take this piece, lift this up, rotate this around, and then rotate that around. That's going to come down to his back, and then this comes up, locks in right there. These little arm pieces here, these do get a little bit tricky in terms of remembering which way they're supposed to go. Pull that out, and then bring that down and around. That'll fall down, rotate all this around, collapsing everything. Under here are his fists. These are kind of tricky to get out, so I'm going to use his handheld section. Pull that down, just like that. Do that on this side as well. So bring that down. This piece is going to fold up, collapse that, and then rotate that all the way down. Open the bottom section. Pull out his fist. There we go. Like that. Pull that back down. Keep that collapsed down. Take the head. Rotate that around. And then you're going to bring this piece up to complete the look. You can put it on either side. I like putting it on this side. Just looks a little bit more my style. So I'll double check to see if that's the side that it was in. But just, well, maybe get that tabbed in there. There you go. Fold that down. Just like that. And when you're done, there you have little mini John Bailey transformed and looking amazing in his very accurate and very cool looking robot mode. And again, this is an absolutely terrific representation of Soundwave. In terms of an accuracy to him, I want to kind of bring this up. This is basically a little display of how Soundwave appeared in the film. And you can see that there is a great level of accuracy between the two. So for them to have taken a screen accurate representation of the character and gave him an alt mode absolutely blows my mind. As you can see, he can hold his gun fairly well. I guess you could probably store that here in that other hole there on the back if you want to do a little bit of weapon storage. You have the little shoulder section on here, which does look good. I mean, really a very fun looking figure. That gives a very modern and updated look for the character of Soundwave. Coming in to take a closer look, starting off first here with his head. Great detail on there. I kind of feel as if they were originally trying to put in the light piping thing, but decided not to, and they just have this solid color piece of plastic right there, but they painted his eyes, which he looks very sad. Look how sad he looks. But still great detail. I mean, I know everybody talks about how the Bumblebee movie is so much better than the Michael Bay films and stuff, because it gives us a more kind of G1-ish sort of look to these characters, and it definitely does, and I could see where this would really give a real-world sort of appearance while still maintaining that G1 kind of aesthetic, because there was a lot of detail in here which does look really very nice. But again, I can also see where Soundwave would have gone to Earth and then taken on some other kind of alt mode. I mean, I know the argument is kind of pointless at this point in time. You know, were these prequel? Was this a sequel? Whatever the case may be. I still firmly believe it was meant to be a prequel, which is why there's so many connecting points between the Bumblebee movie and the Michael Bay movies. That's a whole nother thing. But I love the way that this guy looks. You can see you got the blue, the white, the little highlights of red throughout the entire thing. Everything on him just has been wonderfully recreated. Now, for a size comparison, he is a Voyager figure, so I am kind of surprised, honestly, how big he is, but realistically, deluxe figures have been getting kind of small for a little while. Here we have them with Wheeljack, which, as you can see, pretty tiny. And then let's bring in B-127. And Bumblebee was a little bit smaller of a character just in general. So, I mean, you can see the size here. But for me, it works. I think that Soundwave should be a bigger robot, and it is nicely represented here in terms of the action figure. First articulation, the head is on a ball joint. You do get a little bit of up and down with a little side to side, but you're mostly just going to get the left and right motion with it. You can move this kind of however you want. The shoulders here do get a little bit weird. It's kind of part of the transformation. You have that up and down, and then you do have two different joints here for the rotation. You have the main rotation joint, and then you have another one. So he does kind of have two forward and back motions, which does get a little bit annoying when you want to move him forward and that whole thing moves. I just wish that whole thing rotated, or at least had this lock into place a little bit better. You do have a swivel at the bicep. You do have, is it one joint or two joints? I feel like it's, I mean, I guess because of the way that it is, I mean, you kind of have like a double elbow. I don't even know. You do have elbow rotation. The wrists are locked into place, but you can move them back if you really wanted to hide them. You can rotate him at the waist. This little piece does move forward, so you can get a range of motion with that, and that comes back down. Same thing here with the thighs. You can move that forward and get a further range of motion with the legs moving in and out, forward and back. Rotation right up there. You do have two bends here at the knee, come down to the ankles. You do have the forward and back, and also the ankle tilt. So lots of articulation in the guy. Just overall a really well done figure. I mean, for the fact that we only saw him on screen for a few seconds is really kind of unfortunate because of how cool he looks. And I'm 100% grateful that they are continuing with the Studio Series line to give us the Bumblebee characters. One of the best features on him is that he can be used with the core, I think it's core class Ravage figure that's coming out. And one of the iconic things about Soundwave is that he's a minion. Or he has minions, I should say. And you can see that despite the fact that he does have a little bit thicker of a chest, it doesn't look bad or overly big. But what's great is you got a little button right here that you can push that down, that spring loads down, and you can actually store Ravage right on the inside there. That's fantastic. I love that, because that is a very iconic thing about Soundwave and Ravage. And I love the fact that they incorporated it here with the toy. Now, I don't have Ravage with me right now, but he is on the way, as well as several of the new Bumblebee figures. And yes, I did purchase them from an overseas seller, but they should be here soon, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button and bell notification so that when I upload those videos, you'll get instant notifications for those reviews. But I can't wait to show that off. That's going to be really very fun. Now, for his transformation back, first we're going to open these little back panels and rotate his fists back and in on both sides, just like so. Come around to the back. You can remove this and set this off to the side for the time being. Take his head, rotate that all the way around. Now this part does get a little bit tricky in terms of like moving things around and kind of remembering how it's supposed to basically go. You want to bring this up so that these little panels here kind of hide his face, just like that. So again, lift that up, rotate it. Oh, well, that popped off. So rotate that around. Very stiff joints there, so that's nice, but it does result in things like that popping off. So you want to cover that up just like so, and then these are going to hinge out, positioning everything, and then bring this down. On the inside here, where is it at? You do have a little tab. Where are you at? There we go. On this section right here, you got the little slot for the tab right there, so you're going to bring this down, and that's going to bend down and lock into place right there. It does get a little bit tricky to get it lined up properly. Come on, there we go. Just like so. Kind of keep that all positioned. It will kind of have it on an angle, so bear that in mind, and then you just take this and just slightly put that down like so. Do that on that side, and then come around here, do it to the other side. Fold that out, bend that down, line that tab up on the side of his waist, putting that in just like that, and then just tuck that down like so, kind of position all that. Take this. This is going to come up. That'll rotate around, and then rotate that piece around. And that's going to come down. That's a little bit easier to kind of get the legs all situated first. So kind of leave that up for right now. Open the little side panels on his legs. Fold all of that out. Get this down and out of the way. Rotate this around. And then this is going to collapse. Bring that over. There we go. Just like that. Get that foot out of the way like that. Kind of keep that off to the side because that will kind of get in the way. So do that on this side as well. Fold all this out. Rotate his leg around and then bring it up and in. Lift this up. That's going to rotate down. Keep that all the way forward. And this part does get a little bit tricky to do. You want to bring these pieces down and then on that double knee, hinge everything up to collapse everything. Then when you're done, everything's going to be kind of positioned right here along the inside here. And then you can squeeze this together. There you go. Kind of position that. Make sure that gets pushed up proper. And that is fully compressed. So if you have that right, everything should line up decently. And then you can bring this down. And this will sit right there. Nice and flush. And kind of close in all that little gappage. Bring this up. This part does get a little bit tricky. You have that double hinge here that you need to kind of extend everything. And then you have a little tab on the under, or a little slot under here. And a little tab right there that you're going to fold this up. And just line that up perfectly. Do that there. And everything should line up nicely. Right there. There we go. These, you can kind of position those around. Usually they kind of fold out just automatically. And then you're going to want to take these, kind of push that in, but don't push all the way because otherwise it kind of like goes in too far and then the gun's not going to line up. So just kind of slightly push that in. Do that on this one as well. Slightly push that in. If you need to, you do have a little bit of a hinging sort of thing here with that shoulder connecting piece. But when you're done, there you have Soundwave back in his little flying tank mode. Overall, I've sung the praises of Hasbro with what they've been doing in terms of creating vehicle modes out of CGI models that never had them. It really kind of started with Wheeljack and has now continued on to Soundwave. A lot of these characters we never saw them, so Soundwave, Brawn, RC, Ironhide, Ratchet, all of them, we never saw vehicle modes. So for them to be able to recreate them, I think is really creative and very cool. How the rest are going to turn out, time will tell, but Soundwave here turned out great. Vehicle mode wise, yeah, I have no idea what he's supposed to be. A little flying tank, that works for me. I mean, it is what it is. Transformation doesn't do anything extraordinary, but it's still fun to do, even though it is fairly simple. But that robot mode is gorgeous. Hasbro did great with him, and honestly, I could not recommend him enough. So all that being said, if Soundwave is a figure that you would like to add to your collection, he is hitting various retail locations right now. Or as always, you can do the real easy thing and just go online to places like Big Bad Toy Store or Amazon. For both of those places, I'll put links right down there in the video description. We can head on over there and check out availability on him, as well as the rest of the wide range of Transformer figures. But there you are, guys, my look at the new Transformers Studio Series, Transformers Bumblebee Voyager Class Soundwave. I want to thank you all for tuning in, and as always, remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. Thanks again for watching, and taking the time to be a kid.
You're at your best when the going gets rough. You've been put to the test.